I don't know if this working, but hello everybody. Hello everybody, my name is Arafat Taha from Morocco. I'm a journalist. Usually I write about economy, politics, usually energy too. So the topic today is about global economy after or post the coronavirus. I'm sorry if my English is not so good, so I'll just get into it. So I know everybody talking about how the, the global economy is suffering. So I'll just try to skip the numbers because we all know that the economy is um, is going bad, and I will focus more on the systematic changes. The first is about the economical globalization before the coronavirus. Usually, we think that we live in a country in a world without borders. But later, after the coronavirus, uh, suddenly like the borders is matter. Um, so after the coronavirus, the economic globalization will be not like before, because now every country will try to take care more about their citizens, their people. And before, many countries they think if they need some products or something, they will just because before many countries they think if they just need some products or something, they just buy it from another countries. But after the coronavirus, we figure out that that is not that simple because uh, after the coronavirus, all the countries they closed their borders, and it was not that simple to get into to reach what we need the other countries. So the coronavirus showed that the globalization maybe is not over, but the rules are gonna change after the coronavirus, and the countries they will take care more about the food security, about the energy security, and uh, and they will base more about domestic product. They will not only just always think that they can buy everything abroad and based on the and like free market business. The second systematical change is about the economical, because today is the coronavirus is like a war, but the war is like on everyone. This war is hit the rich or the poor countries. Everyone is damaged by this virus. So usually in such situation, the economy get like shock, but these shocks is always help to make the fundamental changes. So many economists think that in the next years you will be like fundamental changes that like before we cannot imagine it, or we cannot think that will be easy. There's many examples about these fundamental changes and this and how the governments and the companies become more brave to make this changement. Like for example, the Japanese government a few weeks ago decided to like embarked $2.2 billion to help the Japanese companies to leave China. Before the coronavirus was planned, it's supposed that Xi Jinping will visit Japan. It's supposed to be like historical visit, and of course, if that happened, means more Japan will be more reliant to the Chinese economy. But later, after the coronavirus, suddenly, of course, the visit is like later, but now the Japanese government take a brave decision, so it will support any any Japanese company will leave China to the other Southeast Asian countries. So the coronavirus it will help many companies and many countries to take brave decision that before I don't know how to say it's not like lazy, but they just don't want it because the companies usually they care about profit, but they don't care about long-term plans. The other thing is about after the coronavirus, the central banks it will play more role like than before, because, for example, in the crisis of 2008, the local governments helped a lot the banks, the companies, but in this situation in the coronavirus, we saw that the government they don't earn. Really, the government they have problem in liquidity, money liquidity. So we see that the central banks play more big role in the economies. So in the next years, unfortunately the central banks will play bigger role. There is another about the local supplies chains. In the last years, we see that most of countries they based their business in China. So in the next years, we hope that many countries they try to make their own local chain supplies to raise their own economy without relying on the traditional big economies like the Chinese one. I don't know if you have some questions because I'm just talking too fast. Is there any questions?
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. Maybe all traffic you can make from Instagram and YouTube. And after this, you can use Russian platform. We have numbers for what type of traffic Russian people prefer. And for example, now it's YouTube, it's about 15%, Wiki, it's
topic is complicated and is huge, but I prefer like if there is any questions about it because just continue. There is another thing is like in this coronavirus, the economy will change like the priority of the economies before. the economy is like based in many industries like entertainment, for example. But in the next years, we're gonna see the rise of new other industries that before we don't care, because we suddenly after the coronavirus we figure out that maybe like the football players or something like this, they are not helpful, they're not such helpful to do things to, but actually like doctors, like the police securities. So then in the next years the governments will invest in these fields. And of course the medical business is a huge, like more than 1.2 trillion dollar in 2018. But usually basically just like profitable companies. So in the next years we're gonna see how the government will invest in like independent companies, because what we saw in the last months or the last few weeks, like horrible accidents between many countries about the medical supplies, because there is a big lack of medical supplies, and why the people, the people need it. Of course, this mistake the government and the businessmen supposed to that they learn from. So we suppose that the companies, the governments will support more the and encourage more the companies to invest in these fields.
On your roadmaps,
Is there any questions? I even don't know if this is recording or not. First, if I talk about numbers, it was supposed that the global economy will rise like 3% this year, but in that, for example, China was supposed to rise with 6.1%, but it will rise just 1.2%, and the American economy will shrink with 5.9%, the euro area 7.5%, and China grown just 1.2%. But it's supposed that in 2021, all the countries will recover these losses. This is, of course, if the coronavirus pandemic issue will be end in the second half of this year. If it's last until 2021, this is another thing, another story.